Good morning, everybody. Hey, this is Tom Davis. I'm coming to you from our facility, Invictus Baseball Facility in Grapevine, Texas, this morning, and so happy to have a probably my most interviewed guy that I've done because he's still young, and I sort of get him every half year or year, but former player of mine at Morris High School in Pittsburgh, JJ Wetherholt, who was the seventh pick in the draft by the St. Louis Cardinals out of the University of West Virginia. And what we're going to do today, I know a lot of the stuff that I do is on recruiting and everything like that. I want to have him share with you some baseball things and stuff that has made him the elite player that he is and everything. So I'm just going to let JJ introduce himself, and we're gonna get rolling. JJ, it's good to see you, man. Hey, I'll be up in Pittsburgh actually at Eddie Santa's showcase October 25th and everything like that. So maybe if you guys are around, I'll meet you and take you out to dinner or something like that. But introduce yourself again to
Yep.
everybody. I'm sure that they've seen you on here before with me.
Yeah, I'm JJ Wetherholt from Mars, Pennsylvania. Played 3 years of college at WVU in Morgantown. Then, as Coach Davis said, I just recently got drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals. So I played quarter of a season, maybe, down in Palm Beach for their single A team. And then now it's kind of just the off season, so trying to relax a little bit, find a good training program, and just get back to work.
Cool. So I mean, let's pick it up. Just going into the draft a little bit. Just give your mindset. I mean, how stressful was it going through the whole draft process, big guy?
Yeah, I mean it was stressful if you looked at it like that, but you could also just kind of enjoy it and have some fun with it. Talking to a bunch of different teams is pretty cool. Trying to figure out where you think you could go, where you think you wouldn't go, and just all those scenarios. I mean, really the only stressful thing was that like your future is kind of getting decided upon, and it's kind of out of your control. Like someone's going to call your name, and that's where you're going. But outside of that, just kind of relax, try to just enjoy the night with my family, and knew that whatever was going to happen was going to be the right thing. So just trusted in that, and heard my name called and was just super excited.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to tell you what. Let's get right into the baseball thing. I think I've coached some great hitters, had some as clients and everything that have gone on to play. I think that you are one of my one or two best kids that I've ever seen swing a bat. Your brother is up there. He's not quite you and all that, but I you know as well as I do that B could swing the bat, and it was fun watching you two guys hit. Just for everybody, to hit the way that you did. I mean, what your sophomore year and that, what did you hit, like 450, something like that?
It was like 449.
Yeah, I mean, to hit 449 in Elite and B, considered for the Golden Spikes. I know that you have an approach that you take. And I've seen it through Mars, and I've watched it WVU and watching you a little bit in A ball with the Cardinals and all that. Give everybody, what is your approach? I'm talking about from when you're on the on deck circle and watching to getting in the batter's box and actually starting to hit.
Yeah, I mean, just like kind of from observing standpoint, obviously approach is going to change a little bit, but when I'm like watching the guy pitch, I kind of really just want to see what he's pitching to or how he's throwing to lefties because a lot of pitchers kind of, especially at this level, will throw differently to righties and lefties. And because I'm a lefty, I want to see what he's going to do to people like me. With that being said, even like just me in general, I can kind of get pitched to a little bit differently. And so you kind of just have to go based off adjusting and see what they give you. But for the most part, pretty consistent approach is kind of just trying to be on time with the fastball, middle to middle away, just trying to be on time with that, and then see everything as deep as possible with still being able to do some damage. And kind of if a guy's got some really good stuff, then you kind of have to be a little bit more prone to try to pick a pitch or be more keen that he's gonna, maybe throw a slider in certain count and stuff like that. But for the most part, a pretty standard guy. Just try to be on time with the fastball, and then hopefully see the off-speed stuff and just adjust to that.
With your swing and all that, describe this might be hard for you because but describe your swing. What's your swing approach? I mean, what mechanically do you try to do to be the elite hitter you are?
Yeah, I mean, mechanically, pretty much work all of that in the cage. And for me, it's a lot of feel stuff. I kind of just have a pretty good feel for where my swing's at or if my swing's getting out of whack. But, in the game, obviously not thinking on that level. But for the most part, try to just big thing that we've been working on, which become more popular, is like trying to get into the back hip as much as possible with like the coiling that they talk about now. So just trying to get loaded there. And then outside of that, really too, is just trying to be fully loaded right when the pitcher kind of releases the ball. So at that point, you kind of just have to get your foot down and swing. So try to eliminate all the movement while the ball's in the air coming towards you. Can just help you be on time more consistently. And then kind of trying to get on plane a little bit deep. I know my barrel tends to get behind the ball pretty well and pretty deep. And so I can kind of drive the ball really well to the other way just because I can catch it so deep. Sometimes because of that, it's a little bit harder to catch the ball out front and go to the pool side, but that's kind of something we're working on. But for the most part, staying on the back hip, trying to get on plane deep, just trying to stay through the ball and, get to extension.
And it's funny because I mean, we've worked together. It hasn't been a while since, but high school. But I mean, when I'm teaching hitting down here, 85% of the game, as you know, big guy, is outside. So you
Yeah.
have to be able to. If you can't handle that pitch, we work so hard down here on being able to you know have confidence that we can reach and swing properly and drive the ball the other way and everything like that. Then you start getting. It's funny because you talk about okay, now if they start throwing you in, you the one thing, and I tell people, and they're like, what made him really elite? I said, he has the quickest hands. I said, this kid, if you throw him middle in, will clear out a ball like you cannot believe. And I just think that and it's just like you're saying, you get that coil, and it's so funny because you have not as much as you did, but you still have that your
Yeah.
front leg kick and everything like that. But it's the same as you and Brandon. You guys have such great eyes. I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm like, umpires call everybody out on pitches and stuff, and these guys take them and they get called balls. And I used to go to Brandon all the time. I'm like, big guy, yeah, that's a little close in that. And he'd be like, yeah, hey, it's that far out. And I think having the great eyes and the great hands. I mean, when people ask, what's really important, I said, every great hitter has great hands. And I think that it's a lot, we kind of get lost in it with the swing and everything like that. If you look at the Griffeys, the Gwens, the Boggses, all those guys, man, they could get fooled, and they have such great hands to sit there and be able to stay back, strong hands, and work on them and be able to sit there and still, square a ball up and everything. So that's
Yeah.
that's good. Um, a, approach. Let's talk a little bit. Now you have men on base and all that. How big is situational hitting to you? And knowing, looking to drive runs in and you know uh, do some damage with people on base because you can do a lot of it.
Yeah, it's definitely a fine line. You got to understand the situation that you're hitting in. You got to do the best thing to help your team win, but you also can't put kind of too much pressure on yourself to do something so specific with the bat, just because at the end of the day, you're still got to hit a moving ball, which is tough. So I mean, a guy on second, you obviously want to try to get him over, hit a ground ball to the right side, or just kind of keep it to the pull side. And I've had a couple situations like that this year where I was really trying to do so, and honestly ended up doing the complete opposite. So you can kind of get that where it's you're trying too hard to do something, and you don't do it so well. But situational hitting is definitely a big thing, especially at the pro level. Since you're a pro hitter, you're kind of just expected to do so, and if you don't, you don't score because pitchers are good. So you got to take advantage of those situations. But it's definitely something you try to work on in the cage. And then when you get to the plate, like I said, you can't be thinking too much about it, but you kind of have to know, like, this is the job, I'm doing the job, and kind of that's it.
Um, that's a great explanation. Let's go as far as, you played at West Virginia this year, and I saw you end up down here at TCU and then in the Big 12 and all that. And then you go to A ball for the Cardinals. Talk about, is there a difference in the pitchers in single A and the ones that are in the Big 12?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think on a day to day basis, I mean, part of it is too because you play 6 days a week in pro ball. So the starters, you got to have six really good starters. And within the Big 12, usually the Friday and Saturday guy are really legit arms. So those guys, you play a good Big 12 team. The Friday and Saturday guy are usually a little bit more polished than per se the average starter in the low A, I would say. But the problem with the difference is kind of like the stuff area of it. So velo is consistently higher. These guys are pro pitchers, so they have kind of maybe a little bit of a better plan of they understand themselves just a little bit better, and they know what they're gonna do. If the sliders they're gonna pitch, like they're gonna try to beat you up with the slider. They pitch way more fearless, if that makes sense. They kind of
Sure.
really just don't care. Like college is pretty prototypical where you can kind of understand what the starter's gonna do based off his chart and stuff like that. Me, I'm kind of getting 3-1 and hitters counts almost, and like expecting them to try to kind of throw this, and like they like their slider, they're just going to throw their slider. They don't care what happens. If they bury it, they walk you. They really don't care. Like they'll get the next guy. That's kind of just the mentality they have. Uh, Probably a little bit more confidence, but overall, kind of just the stuff is a little bit better. But pitchability, a Friday Saturday guy in the Big 12 is pretty comparable. May pitch a little bit better, but the guys in A are going to throw a little bit harder with a little bit better off speed stuff and kind of just a more careless mentality.
Do they have the same type of command, JJ?
I would say like your Friday Saturday guy in the Big 12 is probably going to have a little bit better command than an average guy in single A. And what I mean by that is kind of just like the ability to go in and out, off speed for strikes, land certain stuff where they want to. But like you'd be surprised at how consistent some of these guys in pro ball can be. It's really comparable. It really is just kind of like an adjustment. Is some of the guys in single A better stuff throw harder and they miss a little bit more, so they miss by more. They're trying to go away and they miss in, and so it can kind of bring a little bit of a tough aspect where they're trying to do one thing and they accidentally do the other thing, but it like kind of works. They're trying to go away on you and they accidentally jam you inside. It works. But yeah, I would say command wise, I mean, it's all pretty similar. Obviously, like the pro guys may be overall better, but I think pitchability, Friday, Saturday guys in the Big 12, like they really knew how to pitch and command their stuff.
Sure. Let's go a little bit. I want to, hear your thoughts on the game as you're playing the game and everything. I've always said that you have one of the most even keel heads that, nothing bothers you. I mean, you sit there and I try to teach it to all the kids on every one of my teams. It's like, you have to have a memory like a cornerback in football.
Yeah,
You got to forget about things in 15 seconds because you know as well as I do. If you take something, you have a bad at bat, and you take it out to the field with you. Guess what? That ball finds always seems to find you, and
right.
and everything like that. talk a little bit about what you think about and your approach to the game in general, just from a mentality standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what you said. You got to have a short memory, and you just got to have a really good understanding of the game. And that's something I kind of picked up on a little bit more within pro ball is, you get one of those guys throwing mid to upper 90s with a good off speed pitch, and if they attack you how they want to attack you and they execute, it's like tip your cap. There's not much you can do. Guys are kind of too good. Stuff's too good. Whereas if they pitch perfectly how they want to pitch you, it's like it's just hard to do. You see it in the big leagues all the time. I mean, it's just if a guy's on, they're tough to hit. So kind of understanding that, and then defensively, it's the same thing. Like you're gonna make errors, you don't want to, but it's gonna happen. It's just part of the game, and you can't let that affect how you play. Like you got to play like you don't care if you're gonna make an error. Honestly, if you play fearless, like you're gonna be more keen to make a play like that. And so that's something I'm always kind of working on. But I mean, you can see at the big leagues too. Is even like last night the Brewers and Mets game, the Devin Williams closer. I think they said he let up 3 runs in his last 22 appearances in the whole year, and then lets up four runs in the ninth inning to lose a game. Like it's brutal, but that's how the game goes. Like everybody on his team knows that. Nobody's gonna put that blame on him because they just
Sure.
know how baseball goes. It's just how it is. So he'll be fine because he's a great pitcher, but it's tough. That's how it goes. Sometimes you can be super super good, and then you have one bump in the road, and the quicker you can get over that and understand that, then the quicker you'll have the success again.
I always say, man, you know what, baseball karma and everything like that. If there's one game that knows how to humble you and keep you humble, it is this game.
Yep.
And that, you know, I see kids now, kids that are playing for me this fall. We finish up tomorrow, and it's so funny. I mean, they'll hit a screamer and everything like that, and right at somebody, and the next thing you know, I mean, it's like, man, pick your head up. Yeah, it's a great at bat, man. You
Right.
All you can do is square the ball up, and then they get they'll get like a little punch and Judy hit out there over the floating over the first or second baseman's head, and they still are bad. And I'm like, be happy, man. I said, this game, even if there's one thing, it evens out everything
Right.
as long as you're ready. But you have to be ready to sit there and make things even out. I mean, and it goes to that mindset. Um, the thing that I always say is that the biggest adjustment that I ever had to make was going from A ball to double A, because there right there is where a lot of the prospects and everything are, and it was like, wow. I mean, A ball was good, a lot like you were saying, and then you get the double A, and it's like, okay, these guys start hitting the spot 7 to 8 times out of everything, and they have the exploding, you know, off speed stuff and
Right.
everything like that. Um, you know, going from next year, I know you're resting now. You're going to start lifting and start getting back into it. Um, what are your goals? What kind of goals do you have for yourself next year, young man?
Playing wise, I mean, to be honest, just like keep competing, getting better, and take it a step at a time. Always trying to just work mainly on like mental side of things. There's just kind of like you said, how am I dealing with adversity? How am I pushing through that? How am I dealing with success if I'm having some? But I mean, obviously, I'd like to move up level by level. Hopefully, at the end of the year, I could be up a couple levels and just getting closer to playing in the big leagues. But at the end of the day, it's like I just want to do well in the level that I'm in. So that's the biggest goal is wherever they put me. Like I just want to do well, and the quicker I do good there, the quicker I can go up. So if I can just focus on being good and dominated and A, low A, high A, double A, whatever the case is, like it'll be good for me. So that's probably the biggest goal.
How's your hamstring, young guy?
It's been good for what I can say. I mean, I really haven't had too many problems with it other than kind of just like basic soreness, but always still kind of monitoring it just because of the nature of the injury, you kind of have to. But it's been pretty solid.
Are you? Let me ask you something. let everybody know. I mean, this young man can run too, and everything. Have they given you a green light as far as stealing and everything like that? Or are they
No, they
kind of
honestly
just
didn't. They really didn't have me steal, to be honest. I think I had two, maybe. I don't know. I thought I could have stole a ton more. But then again, I kind of understand it just from playing 6 days a week and trying to make sure I finished the year healthy. So I definitely wasn't like mad about it. But that'll be something I hopefully look to do more next year. But really just got to make sure I can get my body in a good spot that I can kind of handle that load because it'll definitely be a lot. But hopefully can steal some next year.
talk a little bit, big guy, about a little bit about base running and stealing and all that, because I know that you're very good at it, and I know that you love to do it. What are like some of your signals, some of your specific things you look for in pitchers to be able to get stuff? Do you take bigger leads with some people? Do you take do you tone it down?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your lead and what you're looking for on the mound to steal bases.
Yeah, I mean, like within baseball, like you can have base running, you can just have running. So like you have the dudes who are crazy fast, but they can't seem to steal because they just don't know how to do it. And you have the guys who really aren't fast, but are really good at stealing. Then you kind of have the guys who I'm trying to be, which is you pick up on cues, you know how to base run, but you're also physically gifted and can run a little bit. So um, for me, at the end of the day, like off of first, it's nothing crazy where I'm trying to like cheat it or do like a vault before I steal. But kind of like you said, depending on how good the guy's move is and how comfortable I can feel getting off the base, I want to be in a spot where I'm not like pressed to get back. Because if I don't have to think about diving back, I can be more thinking about like I'm taking off. So kind of get in a spot where I have faith that if I see him step off, I'll be safe. But also a place where I can hopefully get to second. And then after that, it's like you got to pick up on his cues, his breathing, and get a good jump. If your reaction time is good enough, you can go off the front foot. But a lot of times, like catchers are so good, you almost have to be going like even before he's going, but like at the time where he's going to start going. So if you can pick up like he's breathing 1,000, 1,000, and going, if you can pick up on that and go, you have the best chance to steal. And then off the second, it's a little bit more cheating, I guess you could say, but vaulting, bouncing around, trying to time it up perfectly. Where as soon as he's landing, I'm kind of in full motion to take off. So I mean, it's harder. It gets harder level to level, and I'll have to get better at it. I think in college, I kind of was able to just really bank off my speed and literally just run when I saw the pitcher pitch and be safe. So pro ball, I'll have to work a little bit better, but we'll work at it. Just continue to get better at it.
Awesome. Yeah, one thing to put in there, and you mentioned it. I see there's so many people that are fast and everything like that, but they don't base run well and
Right.
everything like that. Um, One thing that I know, and I always teach my players when you're on first, said you should always know where every outfielder
Right.
is before everything. How important is it to be a guy that just because you get a good read, you don't pause for those 2 or 3 steps that you pause, big guy, are the difference between getting in there and getting thrown out. Talk a little bit about the importance of knowing the game that way.
For sure. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, that's what winning teams do. I think they said a stat about it with Tigers game this
Yeah.
week. They were saying how they take the most extra bases out of every team, and they're winning. So that's kind of what it comes down to. I think they have, from an active player standpoint, I mean, they might have a $20 million payroll or something. It's something really small, whatever's going on. Their active players, and they have some really good guys that are hurt. And they're still winning games and they're moving on. So you can see like base running is as simple as that. They take an extra base when they can. That's something you got to know. The trajectory of the ball, if there's like a cut play at the plate or something like that, you can get to second. Just all that kind of stuff. Just finding ways where you can take an extra base. But also, like you said, you're on second base and you know where the second baseman is, and a guy hits a line drive somewhere, and you can get a good jump off of that and score. It's huge. A run is huge in baseball. The more up in levels you go, because it becomes harder to score. So just finding any way to give your team the advantage is really big. So kind of knowing all that from a base running standpoint can be essential.
Well, that's awesome, big guy. You know what? I told you I wouldn't keep you here and everything. I think you have some great information that you've shared. I'll get this posted out a little bit later today. Just finishing up. Tell mom, dad, how's Bucko doing?
He's chilling, man. He's chilling.
You know that Mookie tore his ACL.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's a month into it, and right now he's running around like a madman.
Good
You'd
Lord.
never know that anything happened to him, but
That's
yeah,
crazy.
he doesn't like the hardwood laminate floors down here. He was used to the carpeting up in
Carpet.
Pittsburgh, and he gets going a little bit too much, and then
Yeah.
he doesn't know how to protect himself going into the boards like a good hockey player. So yeah, he blew it out and everything, but he's doing good. But tell mom and dad, Brandon, and everybody you see up there that I said hello. Hopefully, I can, talk to you or get to see you when I come up and that. I'm going to be up for a long weekend. But anything you need, all you gotta do is give me a call. And as always, man, I appreciate everything. Folks, I'm telling you, keep your eye on this young man because he uh, he has the total package, physically, mentally, and with his approach and all that. There's no pressure on him or anything, but this kid's as good a player as what I've had ever play for me. So thanks again, JJ, and
Yes,
you have a
sir.
good rest of your day, brother. And if you run into Andy, tell him I said hello too.
Will do.
All right, big guy. Take care.
Yes, sir. I'll see ya.
All right. Bye.